I'm the mayor in St. Helena. This is a wonderful turnout. This is really heartening. We are building what's called a culture of preparedness in St. Helena. We've been working at it for a while, and we just keep putting more energy into it and building it. We want to put these networks together and this culture together so that we can better work together in times of emergency, and that can be a fire, flood, earthquake, power outage. What we know is that our community, when we know each other, we work better together. A lot of people have put energy into putting these preparedness meetings together over the last 6 to 8 months. I want to especially thank Gail and Brent Sholey and Councilmember Helena who put a lot of energy into this over the last months, and particularly tonight. The job they've done is terrific. Some of the important things that to remember, we're going to have a number of speakers, and I just want to mention a few things that I think are really important. There's roughly one first responder for every 100 of us. And first responders are our St. Helena Fire Department, our police department, CAL FIRE, that's our county fire department, the Napa County Sheriff, and the Office of Emergency Services. Those are our first responders, but there's only one first responder for every 100 people. So we have to be ready to help ourselves and help our neighbors in the event that the first responders can't get to us. So it's important to learn who our neighbors are, how we communicate with them, and we'll be talking tonight about neighborhood networks that we've been trying to put together. It's important that we understand that communication is key in an emergency, and consistent information is important. The city has been working with the county and honing the way we get information out. When we need to send out information, we run it through the county and it comes back to us to make sure we're putting out a consistent message that doesn't conflict with what other jurisdictions are putting out. So being tied into the city website, the St. Helena city website is really important. We send email blasts out, so you can go onto the St. Helena city website, and it's the first button on the left when you go on the website, and you can sign up for our emails, and those will come out regularly with updated information in the event of an emergency. Also, Nixle is very important, and I'll talk about Nixle in just a minute. The City Hall is a place for information. The police station. People also, what I want to put out just a little bit of a caution on people using Nextdoor during an emergency. Nextdoor can be a useful tool in terms of community information sharing, but it can also be a place where rumors start, and it's really important when you're putting something out on Nextdoor to double check your information with the city or the county to make sure it's the correct information. Another thing that's critical is making sure that in your home you have 2 to 3 days of non-perishable food and water in case of a disaster for both family and pets, just in case you can't get to a place where there's food. So that's really critical. That was one of the things that PG&E let us know from the very beginning. If our first responders know that our community is self-sufficient, it helps everybody stay calm. And staying calm and focused in an emergency is critical. And also helping your neighbors. That's what we are. We're a community. And if we're ready to stand up and help ourselves and help our neighbors, we'll get through anything. So I'm going to quickly go through sort of who our first responders are and our second responders, talk a little bit about additional resources, and then I'm going to hand it over to our Fire Chief, John Sorensen. So the first responders we have in our community: St. Helena Fire Department, St. Helena Police, CAL FIRE, the County Fire Department, Napa County Sheriff, and the Operation of Emergency Services. Our second responders are CERT, that's an acronym for Community Emergency Response Team. CART, that's another acronym, and that's for Community Animal Response Team. They'll have representatives in the room next door after the meeting. We can meet with them and ask any questions. NCFF, which is the Napa County Fire Safe Foundation, which we'll be hearing about tonight. Additional resources are PG&E. We can go to the PG&E website. We can go to the CAL FIRE website if we need information. Rianda House, which does a tremendous job providing services for seniors. Up Valley Family Centers, which has been a tremendous asset, particularly in terms of any bilingual or Spanish language needs. That's a go-to center. Grace Episcopal Church, St. Helena Catholic Church, Diane Dillon County Supervisors, another asset. We're talking with all of our churches and service clubs, how do we all get involved in creating these networks and this culture of preparedness. So I'm going to take out my cell phone and we'll talk about Nixle briefly. Is everybody signed up for Nixle? Everybody? Anybody not? Okay. So what you want to do with Nixle is you want to just text to 888-777. That's the address you'll text it to. And the information you'll put in is your zip code. And then you send yourself a text and you'll then be signed up for Nixle. And so we can talk about that in the other room afterwards. So I'm going to hand the mic over to our Fire Chief John Sorensen and Carolyn Upton, who is a disaster responder.
I don't think I've ever spoken in a place like this before. I wouldn't worry about fire this week, I'd worry about lightning. So we're going to have a little video on home hardening. Right, can we have that right here? Yeah, and then we'll get back to it. I'm John Sorensen, Fire Chief, and this is Carolyn Upton.
Hi, I'm Caroline Upton. Been doing disaster response for about 25 years now, so.
Energy costs in Southern California, they're getting pretty high. Southern California is moving everybody to
uncontrolled extreme wildfires are inevitable. These are the conditions when wildland urban interface disasters occur. The hundreds to thousands of houses destroyed during a wildfire. Does that mean that the wildland urban interface disasters are inevitable as well? No. We have great opportunities as homeowners to prevent our houses from igniting during wildfires. Most of our perceptions are that these big wildfires are something we can't do anything about. They're overwhelming. If huge organizations can't control the wildfire, how is it that somehow I can do something to my house and keep it from burning down? It's not a matter of controlling the wildfire, it's a matter of changing those conditions of the house and its immediate surroundings. There's a lot that we can do to the little things to our house and its immediate surroundings in order to reduce the ignition potential of that house. I'm going to do an assessment on this house for its ignition vulnerabilities. The assessment is what all of us homeowners can do. Currently, we're not in fire season, but it's getting hot and it's getting dry, so this is the perfect time before the smoke's in the air to do this assessment. The great opportunity we have as homeowners is that we can do the little things around our house to keep our home from igniting. We can actually separate our house from the extreme wildfire. We don't have to rely on the control of the extreme wildfire in order to keep our house from burning down. Over the last 30 years, my colleagues and I have done research involving laboratory experiments, field experiments, and post-fire disaster assessments to quantify and qualify the relationship between a wildfire and a destroyed home. What we found is that the high-intensity flames, more than 100 feet away from the house, are largely incapable of igniting the house directly. It's the little things that seem to be destroying the houses. The burning embers, we call them firebrands, lofted out of the high-intensity wildfire to land in the community, sometimes directly on houses as well as the surroundings. It's not 100-foot flames. It's a pile of firebrands that would fit in the palm of our hand. So my colleagues and I designed a firebrand, an ember shower demonstration. We have a full-size house. It's got bark mulch and pine needles around the base. It's got pine needles in the rain gutters. It's got pine needles on the roof. We have an ember generator that then casts a brand blizzard at this house. In order for those firebrands to be effective in igniting the house, they either have to ignite the house directly, or they have to ignite something around the house that then can spread to the house. The main factors determining this home's ignition potential are right here. The home's characteristics related to its immediate surroundings. For our assessment, our perspective changes to this house being one of fuel for the potential ignition. Look around your house and see where the litter, the leaves, and the needles have piled up, and visualize that that's going to be where firebrands begin to pile up and collect. So here we have pine needle litter right up next to the house. It's on the steps. It could ignite and start this wall and step area on fire. It also can ignite on this lathing, which is right up underneath the wood shingle siding, and ignite that. This doesn't burn with high intensity. It burns with low intensity, but it's extremely important. In fact, on this house, it easily could be the critical factor that leads to its total destruction. If this house had rain gutters, this litter would be in the rain gutters, potentially igniting and putting flame right up at the eave line, potentially igniting the roof and going into the attic. On this side of the house, what our attention should be on is this gable vent. It's the most exposed kind of vent. I noticed that it's got fine mesh screen, which certainly helps keep large firebrands from going into the attic and potentially igniting the house. One of the things we looked at were vents during the brand blizzard. The brands are directly impacting that vent opening. The burning brands can blow right into the attic and potentially ignite the material that's in the attic. The remedy is simple. All we have to do is use finer mesh screen to cover the openings. One of the important aspects that we demonstrated was that you don't have to have a metal roof in order to keep the house from igniting, from firebrands. What we showed was that any roof that doesn't ignite and spread fire can survive the grand blizzard. So as we previously demonstrated, composition shingle roofs with pine needles on them don't represent a significant ignition problem. But look here, we've got a wood-sided wall coming down to the top of the roof where this needle deposition, when it ignites, is going to put flame contact right on the side of the wood wall. This results in flame contact and high ignition potential, resulting in the destruction of this house. The house includes more than just itself if there are outbuildings that are close enough to ignite and spread to the house. So maybe we have a shed or we've got a chicken coop which then can burn long enough to ignite the shed that's next to that, which then ignite and burn sufficiently in order to ignite the house. So we need to be as concerned about the surroundings of our outbuildings and their condition as we do our house.
I looked into landscaping, I looked into fireproof home building, I looked into fireproof lawn furniture. I mean, I was going for everything that I could for the safest fire safety you could. And we had a checklist, no firewood stacked next to the house. All of our lawn furniture was fire rated. I wanted to feel like if there was a fire, we had the absolute best chance possible of us and our house surviving.
So some of the little things that begin to hit the house during an extreme wildfire from the firebrands are, for example, something as simple as a broom being left out. Flammable deck furniture, where we've got flammable cushions on the furniture on the deck next to the house. The cushions ignite from the firebrands, they ignite the deck railing, which is connected to the house.
We put 3 foot of rock siding all the way around up the house, as well as in our landscaping 3 feet out of crushed rock. We talked to people, all it took was one thing, firewood stacked in the wrong place, or lawn furniture caught fire on their porch. One tiny little technique that wasn't followed.
Well, knowledge is key. The more you know, the more you can increase your chances, and not always does that have to cost money, right? It's just knowledge. It's still a shock to go through a fire, but to come back and see your home, right? That's such a good feeling.
Flame contact on the house is a really bad idea. What we want to make sure of is that we don't get flame contact on the house. We don't have a fire burning across pine needle litter, for example, and making direct contact with the house. But that only takes 5 feet around the house in order to keep the flames away. Let's take a look at the surrounding area of the house. Adjacent to this wood wall, we've got these green shrubs. So the question is, are these green shrubs a big problem and do they have to be removed? Well, as long as we've got green foliage without dead material, we're pretty good. But if we take a look, we've got dead material in the canopy and we've got dead material deposited under the wood wall. What we want to do to keep the shrubs is to prune out all the dead material within the canopy as well as underneath in order to keep the wall and the shrubs from igniting. So we don't need to put out all the fires. We don't need to make sure that no fire occurs within a neighborhood. We do need to make sure that there isn't high-intensity fire within 100 feet, and we want to make sure that surface fire doesn't come directly to the house and ignite it. We definitely can't have a flammable wood roof on our house. It's the most susceptible to firebrand ignition. But there are many things that occur on a seasonal basis. Cleaning up the litter around the base of the house, out of the rain gutters, making sure that we swept the deck of pine needle litter and leaves, and making sure that our hardwood piles aren't on the deck, and making sure that we've cut the grass and not having things right up next to the house that can burn. We've just taken a look at this home, but it's obvious that every home and every property are going to be different. That's why it's very important for us to seek information so that we can find the vulnerabilities to ignition of our own homes. Remember, if your home doesn't ignite, it doesn't burn. You've got to act now to address these little things long before the fire ever starts.
Well, that was an excellent video. Does anybody have any questions on home parking? All right. We'll move on to kind of the end thing now is generators. Who went out and bought a generator because of the PSPS? Oh yeah, a lot of them. Gotta have your electricity, don't we? So storage of gasoline. So the place that you want to keep it, first of all, you always want to use an approved container, never glass. You want to take your container out of the vehicle and set it on the ground when you fill it. You can get a static electricity, you can get a charge, and it can ignite while it's sitting in the bed of your pickup or whatever vehicle you have. You want to fill it slowly. You never want to overfill because as it heats, if you have it out in the sun, it expands and you don't want it right to the top. I know you want all you got, you just put down at the gas station, but you know, you can leave that much, all right? And then you want to secure it when you're in transport because if it has the vent lid open and it tips over, you've got a mess and then you're going to see me. You want to keep it 50 feet, when you get home, you want to keep it 50 feet away from a pilot light. So if you have a water heater inside the garage, well, that just leaves the garage out, okay? Unless you have a really big garage. You want to leave it on the floor, away from children. The best is to leave it outside, away from the structure, in a shed, definitely not inside the house. Is there any questions on fuel?
I have a question back on fireproofing your home. Talk about...
Sorry, Paul, we already moved on.
Yeah. Firewood.
Firewood.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about that, where it should be stored, how it should be stored.
Well,
I know that's probably an anathema, that you should have firewood, but assuming you do, how do you store it?
well, what I do, I have a cabin up in Cobb that I burn wood up there. In the wintertime, it's up against the house. In the summertime, I try to burn it all the way down, and then I take every piece away from the house. Because nobody wants to go out in the rain to go out to get the firewood. So I would go to the most distant part of the property, at least 20 feet away from the structure, and then that's where I would have my wood pile. If you want to keep it there year-round, then you're going to do the wheelbarrow and then take loads to the house. But in the wintertime, you don't have a problem with an ember cast, like you saw on that time. So that's what I do.
Thank you.
You bet.
For the fuel part, if there are propane tanks instead of gasoline,
Okay.
what would we do?
I keep mine outside. Propane is lighter than, it's heavier than air, so it creeps on the ground. Where natural gas, if you have a leak, it goes up and it dissipates, it goes up. But propane will creep around on the ground. So if you have it in a confined space, it'll accumulate and it will build and build and build until it finds an ignition point. Yeah. So you want to keep it out of the sun is the best. So when you have those super hot days, they will, if they're overfilled, they will vent off and you can hear them. It's kind of rare, but it happens. And if you have them, when the fire front comes and they do boil and they will vent off, and if they vent off very quickly, it'll shoot, a 50-foot flame, and they're made to do that. Any other questions? Propane, gasoline? Okay, and how to prepare for red flag, you can go to the city website and the fire department website, and we have this guide, and I think how many people did get this in the mail? We sent it out to every household in St. Helena. We did not send it out to the county, but everybody in the city got this, and you can go open this up, and the power shutdown to be prepared about PSPS is on this side, and on the other side is preparing a go bag, getting ready to evacuate. And then on the back, I have these in the fellowship hall where we're going to end up. We have all the websites for readywildfire.com, preparedness, power down by PG&E, City of St. Helena, and Nixle, St. Helena Fire Department. So, We also had in that is a little magnet to keep this. We came up with this idea to have this on your refrigerator. Just a few things to remember. Is your vehicle, is it fueled up? Is it down to 1/8 of the tank? Or is it 3/4 of the tank where we like to be? Emergency supply kit, prescriptions. You know, if you have to go that fast, you know, can you get it together in a few minutes and go? So this is just a little thing to put in your, on your refrigerator, just keep your mind on it. So, any other questions? Okay.
Just really briefly, talking about the go bags, just to give you a perfect example of if you don't have your go bag, what can, things can occur. Just a little story. Our neighbors lost their home when the Tubbs fire. I used to live on 128, kind of near where that started. And we were actually working for a volunteer fire department there, so we're sent out on that fire. And we realized we needed to evacuate our house. And of course, I didn't have my go bag. So threw the kids in the car, and of course had to get my youngest one's stuffed octopus. That's a really important thing to have in the go bag. So I threw that in the car and promptly left all my passports, all my stuff. And I've been doing this for a long time as a responder. So just know that if you can get organized now and be proactive, it's much easier than being reactive. And just another thing, the neighborhood buildings that we're creating right now, getting to know your neighbor and all of that aspect of this information, it's really important. I can tell you that in all the countries that I've traveled responding to disasters, in fact, I was in the Bahamas after Dorian, the people that survived knew their neighbors. That was how they got resources, communication, water, etc. if they didn't have it. So it's really important that you get to know the people around you. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, we're going to hear from Officer Phil Bianco from the San Helena Fire Department, and then Paula Oh, I'm sorry. That's in the San Helena Police Department. Sorry. And then Paula Brooks from the Napa County Fire Safe Foundation.
Hi, I'm Phil Bianco. I'm with the San Helena Police Department. I've been with the police department now for 4.5 years. I spent 10 years at the Calistoga Police Department. I was born and raised in San Helena, so even though as an adult, I don't live here now. This is my hometown. This is where I grew up, went to school. So this is my town. So I have a vested interest, not as just an employee, but keeping it safe, and my family and friends still live here. So that's a little bit about myself. I was supposed to talk about high-low sirens. It was implemented throughout the state, patrol cars. We have them in the works. They're ordered, but they haven't been installed yet. They're a siren that you can hear from the patrol car that's different from any other siren that you're going to hear. But they are ordered. We just haven't had it installed yet. Talking about emergency preparedness, for us, we've been evacuated. We live in Hidden Valley Lake, up in Lake County. We've been evacuated during the Valley Fire. A month ago, a small fire started close to our house. We had to evacuate there. I was working that night, so my wife got our 3 sons out, and we had those go bags, those things ready. Even though she was hurrying to get those things out, one of the things that we learned from having to go through these fires over and over again is, I know it's kind of expensive, but we bought an external hard drive that backs up everything onto our external hard drive. So now my wife doesn't worry about grabbing laptops, iPads, anything. She just grabs that, unplugs it, and it's got everything, all our photos, all our finances, everything backed up onto that, and that's the one thing that she grabs. For us, that works out great. My mother-in-law, who's retired, she's 72. She doesn't have a go bag, she's got to go laundry basket. And so she keeps everything in that. She retired from Orange County, moved up by us, and she keeps everything in that during the summertime when fire season's like this, and she gets herself ready to go at a moment's notice. These are tags. If you are evacuated, we can place these on your door, and we know that you've been evacuated. Before these, I even knew these were around. My wife and I wrote evacuated on a pizza box, and I stayed with the front of my house just to let people know that we were out.
And that helps the first responders to know who's gone so they don't spend time.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm going to be doing is if I'm having to go door to door and no one's answering, I don't want to have to kick open your door, but I'm going to kick down your door and go inside and look for somebody. You know, if I'm knocking, pounding, anybody in there, the lights may have been left on, I'm not sure. These things speed up the process. Especially, it was the last fire, the Kincaid fire. I had the opportunity to spend one night at the EOC, which is the Operations Center at the Sheriff's Office. During that time, I learned that they keep a list of everyone that's on life support here in the city. Fortunately, we only have 2 people who are on life support, so we're able to send officers out, check on those people, and they have those backups in place, they have those generators in place. But those things come into play. As far as the available police force, we have 2 officers on day shift and 2 on graveyard. During an event like a power outage, like the PSPS, or the Kincaid fire, some big fire, we bring on additional resources. I came in on overtime. I can tell you from experience, when the power goes out downtown, that is the time that I spend downtown, and the other officers are out roaming around because it's quiet, dark, and eerie, and you're walking around, and I'm looking for burglars, I'm looking for people who are taking advantage of the opportunity, right? I caught a burglar in the act, breaking into the Salient Antiques, not during the event, but prior to that, and, you know, it's a time of opportunity, and so we try to strategically place officers, you know, in places that we can get them. Limited resources, we're a small department, but we get them out there. So we're working the neighborhoods, we're working your streets, we're working your houses, and spending time downtown. Any questions for me?
So we still have neighbors in our neighborhood who really are hesitant to put the evacuated tax on Robert's reason. They're afraid that that's, you know,
An invitation.
a welcome sign to
Yeah, an invitation. So that's personal preference. If you decide, hey, you know, I don't want to put this on because I don't want a looter to see that no one's home, that's your preference. But for us, during an evacuation, you know, it speeds up the process and frees up resources.
One of the things we were told about with those is that it then also lets you guys know if there's one of those on the door and you see somebody in there, it's probably a burglar. So that's the catch-22 and why you should do it.